In some ways, I feel like we're starting over from the beginning. Like the beginning of this class, I feel like has been kind of haphazard. Like we got started and it was like strong. And then I had to cancel to get trained in that bladder program. And then we had a week, but not very many people showed up, but that's not a problem. Um, and then I had to cancel for another reason because I had COVID. And so in some ways I feel like, okay, let's regroup, let's get started, clean slate, you know, let's don't try to remember where we were 2 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. Let's just start and feel good about it and know that I don't mean to cancel class and I don't like to cancel class. So, Miss Sylvia, did you have a question? You just wanted to wave? That's fair. Are you good, Miss Lily?
No, ma'am.
Good. Glad to hear it. So it may have seemed a little bit unorganized as we got started. If it does, then I apologize. If y'all don't think it is, then just pretend that I was very organized. But I have been so out of sorts because I like routine, I like schedule, and I don't like canceling things. I like to get in that flow and keep on going. So you know that if things do come up and I do have to cancel, that all the classes in the past, all the tutorials are on the YouTube page. Does somebody have on a television?
So we shift right, step into left.
I hear like
that's you.
It's not me. I don't have a TV here.
I mean, but it's you that they are.
Oh, it's me talking?
But it's on somebody's device or something.
Don't y'all love technology? Anyway, well, I just didn't want it to be a distraction, and I was being a distraction to my own self somehow. So let's.
It was from a previous class and shift left or something. I heard.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's get started by warming up our bodies, by walking around the room, opening and closing our hands, pumping our arms. And if you're not able or if you don't want to walk around the room, then just stay in your chair and march your feet, tap your toes and your heels. Any kind of movement. I mean, even if you're putting your hands above your head, like a shoulder or shoulder press, anything that gets blood flowing. What we're doing is getting our bodies warmed up and ready for exercise to decrease our chance of injury. This morning when I was at the gym, one of my warm-ups was to do some weird jumping jack, and I wasn't fixing to do jumping jacks. But what I did was go step with my arms open and then back with my arms closed. Step, close. And that was a good warm up. And you can be in control of how far you step out. You can do it, about shoulder width apart. Just anything that's getting that blood flowing. But that was the first time I had done that type of warm up, and I'm like, well, this is a really good one. We could even do this in Tai Chi, just like in a slow pace. We don't have to do all that jumping around to get our bodies warmed up. It's just simple movement gets our bodies warmed up. And once our bodies are warm, we start our stretching, and we do 2 stretches per main body or main joint. So we have 2 for our neck, shoulders, spine, hips, knees, and ankles. So we get in a stable position, and that's with our feet about shoulder width apart. We have good posture, and we think of it like a string that pulls up and down at the same time, and our shoulders are relaxed. Stable stance. And we start with our neck by bringing our hands up, palms down. We don't go any higher than our shoulders. Then we turn our hands and pull them towards our chin and chest. Turn and push away from our bodies. And then follow those hands all the way down, chin to chest. And that stretches the back of our neck. So let's do that several times. Push out and then follow those hands all the way down. Take your time. Remember, our pace is slow, and continuous. The other one for our neck starts out this same way. Now we drop one hand to our hip and follow this hand as we look towards our shoulder. Come back to the front. Switch our hands and look towards the other shoulder. So we're turning our head side to side, warming up our neck. You don't have to go as far as you can go. Just go until you feel that slight stretch. I'm kind of stuck on this one because my neck is a little bit stiff. So it feels so good. And so remember this movement right here. If you ever do get stiff in your neck, I know one reason why my neck gets stiff is from driving, because you have to be kind of stiff because you're very alert when you're driving. You can't just sit back and relax and drive. You have to be very aware of what's going on and be a defensive driver. So when I drive a lot, my neck will get stiff. And so that anytime your neck gets stiff, then do that exercise side to side and it'll help stretch out those muscles. All right, next for our shoulders, hands to our side, and we're going to roll our roll our shoulders back. It feels like a little massage you give yourself, doesn't it? Roll those shoulders forward. And roll those shoulders back. I think it feels like a massage. Very good. All right. Now let's bring our palms up and push those palms down. You want to think about inhale as you come up and exhale as you push down. This one's a relaxing move, going in these circles. Now for our spine. So let's take our ball, just like, and our hands are facing each other, and we're going to separate our hands. The hand on top is going to push down towards the ground, keeping that soft bend in our elbow. We're not completely extending our arms. We're pushing down, keeping that soft bend, and the other hand comes up and pushes up towards the ceiling. Notice again, there's a bend in that elbow. I'm not locking my joint and pushing all the way up. I'm stretching that spine, coming back to my ball and switching hands. So the other hand goes up and this one goes down. Nice spinal stretch. Inhale and exhale. I like to exhale as my hands separate. I feel like I get a better stretch whenever I do that. Oh, move my camera so y'all can see that full movement. And push up and down at the same time, stretching that spine. Now let's take our ball and go side to side. So we go in the direction of the hand that's on top. Go, and we stop just above that knee. So we don't go way over here. That could hurt our spine. It's just a short trip side to side. Continue to breathe. Just check in with yourself and make sure that you're not holding your breath. Now for our hips. Remember, this is when it gets a little complicated because we start holding weight on one foot while we do something else with the other foot. So this is challenging, and because of that, we might want to have a chair to rely on, either just to have there just in case. We might want to have that chair there to just completely hold on to and not do the hand movements. Have our wall, a table, something that's not going anywhere if you lean on it and rely on it for balance. But what we do, the first one for our hips, is shift our weight to one foot, and then the other leg we place our heel forward and our hands go back. So from the side it looks like this. And now we pause in the middle, and then we put our toe back, hands forward. Now notice that toe, when it goes back, it's out to the side like a kickstand. It isn't straight back, it's out to the side, and that's a more stable stance. It's like a kickstand on a bike. Pause, toe back, hands forward, heel forward, hands back, pause, and toe back, hands forward. Let's go to the other side, shift the weight, heel forward, hands back, pause, toe back, hands forward. Side to side. Shift to one leg as we take our hands in that direction and tap the foot out. Switch hands. Remember to keep our body upright, not leaning into the movement as we shift the weight. And also stopping those hands at the frame of our body. So I'm not going way out here. That would encourage me to lean, and that's definitely goes against what we're trying to do here. We're trying to help our bodies learn a stable stance so that we're less likely to fall. And leaning is falling. Sometimes we just have control and we have muscle strength to keep ourselves from falling, but leaning is going towards falling, and that's what we're going against. So that's why we're very conscious of our posture. Tai Chi increases our body awareness. So you start to learn to hold your body in an upright way no matter where you go, not just in Tai Chi class, and it decreases your chance of falling. Next is for our knees. So we make a loose fist. We have them down by our hips. We're going to shift to one leg, lift, tap out, and punch that opposite hand. Bring it back, shift, lift, tap and punch, bring it back, shift, lift, tap and punch, bring it back, shift, lift, tap and punch, side to side. Very good. Take your time, don't get in a rush. Make sure you're breathing, keeping that upright posture. Using any kind of support if you need to. Next, we step out. So we shift the weight, step out forward, keeping both feet flat on the floor as we shift weight to that front foot and punch. Bring it back, feet side by side. Shift, step, shift and punch. Bring it back, side by side. Shift, step, shift and punch, bring it back, side by side. Just scanned my shoulders to make sure I was keeping them relaxed and not holding any tensions there. And that's what I do throughout the day, is just scan my body, making sure I'm not holding tension and also making sure I'm breathing. Tension causes pain, and I want to not have pain. So if I can relieve tension and to not cause pain, that's what I want to do. For our ankles, shifting weight and then heel toe. Let's rock that foot, and that warms up and stretches that ankle joint. A joint we really take for granted because it's farthest away from our eyes, and it's small. It's a weight-bearing joint, but it doesn't carry our weight like our knees and our hips do. It's a supported joint, and but we don't want to forget it. Imagine having very weak ankles and how that can affect falls. So working this ankle, now we're going side to side, big toe, little toe. Working these ankles, helping them be strong and flexible, can help keep us from falling because they support our bodies whenever they're strong. Like I said, we take it for granted, those ankles. Very good. Give your body a little shake. And that is our warm-up of all of our major joints. Now let's, is there any questions about any of our warm-ups? You good on those? Remember, we do not become experts after one time of hearing about it. I've been doing Tai Chi for going on 12 years. I still love to go to training and just to make sure that I'm on point with my movements. And so we're ever learning our moves and getting better with them. So don't feel like, oh, she's already told me twice, I should know it. No, that's what I'm here for, is to go over it and make sure you know the specifics of the movement. So there's no shame in asking clarifications. All right, so here we go. We're going to start with our Tai Chi series of movements. This is the program that is evidence-based to help with falls prevention, also pain from arthritis. So let's begin with commencement. Now, to review, commencement is a step forward. So I'm going to do mirror image. I'll start with weight on both legs. I shift weight to the right. I step out left. I shift left. And then I bring my right foot forward and then adjust the weight to where there's weight on both legs. So easy as that, a step forward that is led by your left foot. So shift right, step left, shift left, bring the right foot forward, and then adjust the weight to having weight on both feet. The hand movements, they start at our sides, and our hands are going to face each other the whole time. So we're going to bring our hands up. Now I want you to notice the little bit of bend in my elbows as I bring my hands up. What you don't see is this, extended out like Frankenstein. So keep that soft bend. Now I know it looks like I'm extended, but I'm not extended. You see the difference? It's very slight, but that's the difference in an open and a closed joint. When we have an open joint, that's song, the joint is song, and that means that energy can flow. The life energy that goes through our bodies. If we lock our joints, our elbows or our knees specifically, then we stop energy from flowing. So keep those open joints as you bring those hands up, facing each other, and bring them back down. Now we're going to bring those hands towards our hips and up our bodies. I always think of an elevator right there. Now push our hands out, still keeping the open joint, and bring them back. And at the end, those fingers face up. So we have the handwork of commencement where we come up, down, in, up, out, and back in. Okay? Up, down, in, up, out, and back in. Dr. Lamb talks about holding a ball and how you want to share your ball. You want to show it off. You want someone else to enjoy it too. So look, you show them that ball. Look how pretty that ball is. See, it's just amazing. Don't you want to play with it? Nope, they don't. So you bring it back and you think about it and you're like, oh, but look, it's so good. Don't you want, here's your final chance. Nope, they still don't want it. So you bring it back. So that may be a way to help you remember what you do with your hands. Thinking about that ball. Oh, the ball, look how beautiful, shiny, pretty. Don't you want to play with it? No, okay. Well, what, are you sure? Yes, they're sure. There it is, commencement. So we're putting our feet and our legs together. We bring our hands up, nothing happening with our feet, except we have weight on both of them. When we come down, we shift our weight to our right leg. Step left, empty step, so there's no weight there yet. Bring our hands in and up. Now shift left as those hands go out. Bring that right foot forward and bring our hands back. All right, so let's practice that several times and commence. Hands up, down, shift right. Step left, hands come in and up. Shift left as they go out. Right foot forward, hands come back. Now we have open and close where we open and close those hands. So those are our first two movements. Again, follow me, commence. Open, close. Again, commence, up, down, shift right. Step left, hands in and up. Shift left as they go out. Right foot forward, hands come back, open, close. Again, commence, up, down, shift right, step left. I'm laughing because I'm a liar. I'm doing mirror image. Again, commence, up, down, shift right, step left, hands come in and up. Shift left as they go out, right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. Two more times and then we'll add on our single whip. And commence. Again, commence, hands up. Down, shift right. Step left, hands come in and up. Shift left as they go out. Right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. Something that has always been helpful for me is to connect what is happening in my upper body with my arms with what is happening in my lower body. So when my hands come down, my weight goes down into that right leg. So it just feels like, almost like my hands are magic, like they're pushing that weight down. And that weight goes down into that right leg. So there's a weight shift that happens with that hand movement. And so I just connect that hand movement to the weight shift, and that makes sense to me. It just feels right. In the same way that when my hands go forward, my weight is fixing, my weight is getting ready to go forward. It's shifting to that front leg, the left leg. So my hands go out and my weight goes out, or my weight goes forward. Bring the right foot up and then hands come back. And that hands come back, it feels like I'm gathering to wrap it up. That puts that period at the end of the movement to get me ready for open and close. And so in that gathering, that ending of that movement, that's whenever I take weight and put it on both legs, right? So up and then hands go down, weight goes down. Step, hand goes out, weight goes out. Or forward, weight goes forward. Hands go forward. Bring the foot up and bring those hands back. And now weight's on both legs. So if you can find a way to connect what is going on with your hands to your feet, then it'll get easier for you to learn the movement, putting those two things together. All right, next is single whip. Now we single whip both ways. The first time we go to the right. Yep, that's where we go, to the right. And we're coming from open and close. We shift our weight to the left. We step out with our right foot. Now I want you to notice I stepped out, but it was just a tiny little step. And when I stepped out that foot at an angle. So it's not straight forward like my other foot. It's at an angle. It's about a 45-degree angle if you were to look down. The heel of my right foot, it lines up with my bunion of my other foot. So I'm not taking this big, huge step out. It's just a tiny step forward and at that angle. Now, if you feel more comfortable at a 30-degree angle versus a 45-degree angle, that's fine. There's no exact science to it, but it is not straightforward. It is at an angle. This right here is called a stable stance. And wherever you go, and if you're having to stand in one place, try to stand in a staggered stance. So right now my feet are about hip width apart, and I have one foot up and then one foot back. The foot that's up is at that angle. This right here is that staggered stable stance. So right now, if I stand somewhere and I'm in this position, I'm less likely to fall if somebody bumps into me. I have that slight bend in my knee to keep that open joint in my knee, or that song joint, allowing the energy to flow, but also to give me a little room to recover if somebody does bump into me. So this is a staggered stance. We learn it in Tai Chi, but we go out in the world and practice it to help keep ourselves upright. So for the sake of the movement, we shift left, we step out right. When we step any time in Tai Chi, it's an empty step. So we don't immediately give it weight. It's just momentarily, but then we do. So right now, I have weight on both feet. And you play around with the amount of space that you step forward, play around with the angle in which you have your foot. What feels most stable for you? Because there's not an exactness to the movements in Tai Chi. What makes it work for you is that you feel stable. And you have that body awareness enough to know, hey, yeah, I'm in a good place, versus if I were to have my feet close together like this, I don't feel stable. I feel like a little bit wobbly. I feel like if somebody were to bump into me, I could easily fall. So widen your stance to helps you be more stable, and play around to what exactly works for y'all. Okay, so once I step and adjust the weight, my hands are here the whole time facing each other because I just got done with open and close. So my hands are there from open and close. Now I'm ready to do something else with my hands, and it looks like this. They're facing each other. I push them away from my body. Notice I keep that soft bend. I don't lock my arms. Push away, and then turn my hands away to where my palms are facing out. And then I separate. You see, I'm moving both hands. And in this case, I'm going to follow my left hand. Now, how do we remember what hand to follow? Well, it's opposite of the foot that steps out. So in this case, my right foot stepped out. When I go to separate my hands, I follow my left hand because it's opposite of the foot that stepped out. And when we do single whip the other way, shift, step, adjust, push, turn, separate, I follow my right hand because it's opposite of the foot that stepped out. So that's the rule in single whip. Something that's easy to do is to forget about the hand that you're not looking at. So if your eyes are following that left hand, it's easy to forget about our right hand. But don't. So practice this, even if you don't worry about your feet. Practice just that hand movement of what it feels like to move both hands. When you move both hands, you're going to feel a stretch in your shoulder, probably across the top of your back. You're probably going to feel a slight stretch in your chest when you move both out. Now, I want you to practice it wrong. I want you to only move that left hand and forget about the right one. Do that a couple times. You don't feel the same stretch, do you? So do it right and then do it wrong. And really feel the difference. The chest stretch as you open those shoulders, which is really good for breathing, good for your lungs, but just good to stretch your muscles. And then again, like I said, across the top of your back and shoulders, you'll feel that just stretch as you open up versus just moving one hand. Then you don't have that open. You feel the difference? So that's tips on how to do that movement right. follow the hand opposite of the foot that you step out with. And don't forget to move both hands out. All right, so single whip. We're coming from open and close. Our first one is to the right. We shift left, step right, adjust weight, push, turn, and separate, eyes following that left hand. And where do we stop? About right there. We're not going to start going backwards. That doesn't feel good. That's too much stretch. Too much sauce. I guess that's what the kids say. Too much sauce. All right, so there. And then our hands will come down, or the hand that our eyes are on, we keep it up momentarily as we bring this one down. And then eventually they're both coming down to do the waving hands and clouds. Sorry, y'all. Y'all keep seeing me messing my ear. I have fluid on my ear and it's messing with me. All right, so single whip. Shift left, step right, adjust weight, push, turn, separate, eyes follow that left hand. Sink. That's done. We're perioding it. It's that single whip. Again, from open and close. Shift, step, adjust weight, push, turn, separate, eyes follow that left hand. Again, from open and close. Shift, step, adjust, push, turn, separate, eyes following left hand. All right, let's add it to the beginning. Commencement, open and close, and single whip from the top. And commence. Open, close. Single whip. Do it again from the top. Commence, up, down, step, shift, step, hands come back, open and close. Single whip, shift, step, adjust, push, turn, separate. That is our first 3 moves. Now, I know we were going to pretend like we're regrouping and starting all over, but I know that's how far we had gotten. I know that we had started talking about waving hands and clouds, specifically about Tai Chi walking. And so I encouraged y'all to Tai Chi walk forward, and by Tai Chi walk, and what I want you to get out of Tai Chi walking is the empty step as you step forward, then the weight shift, the empty step, then the weight shift. So what I want you to practice with Tai Chi walking is the empty step. So when we normally walk, we just throw that foot out there and immediately shift the weight, and we hope for the best. And usually it works out. It's called controlled falling. So step, walk, step, walk, step, walk, step, walk. I mean, we immediately shift the weight as we step. But we want to practice the empty step. And you probably don't want to do it in Walmart because, one, people will probably think you're in the daggum way because you're going slow. And 2, it may look a little strange. So find a place in your home you can Tai Chi walk where you shift, put that foot out there, then shift the weight. Put that foot out there, then give it weight. And when I'm putting my foot down, I'm laying it down heel toe. So I'm like rolling it down. then shift and weight. I'm not just slapping it out there. I'm heel, toe, then give it weight. Heel, toe, then give it weight. Slow, smooth, and continuous. Okay, so that's Tai Chi walking just forward. I encourage you to practice Tai Chi walking, even if it's around your house. This helps you slow down and utilize your muscles in a different kind of way than when you just regular walk. It helps them become more of a stabilizing muscle because it has to momentarily hold your weight while you're just taking your time, putting that foot out there, taking your time, shifting the weight. While you're taking your time with that empty step, this other leg is holding all your weight like, don't worry back here, I got you. Having fun being the holder of weight. But what happens when that leg is back there holding that weight? It's getting stronger. It is getting more able. And you do that to both legs and you practice it enough to where your muscles get stronger and stronger and stronger. Even going that slow, you're making your legs stronger. When your legs are stronger, you are less likely to fall because they are able to hold your body. So it may feel weird to slow down and do Tai Chi walking, but that's why it is so good for you and so important. So there's Tai Chi walking forward, but for waving hands in clouds, we Tai Chi sideways, right? So what we do is, well, let's go this way since that's the first way we do it, is we step to the side. And when we step out, we do not give it weight, just like when we were Tai Chi walking forward. But then we give it weight. And then we step, and then we shift. And then we step, and then we shift. Step, shift. So see, I'm walking sideways. Tai Chi walking. Again, you probably don't want to do this in public, but it's a good thing to do in the privacy of your home or somewhere where there's not a lot going on, where you can safely go slow and move, shift, step, shift. And then when you get to a wall, then take off and do it to the other way. So yes, you're making, just like walking forward, here you're making your muscles stronger walking sideways. It's a different part of your muscle. So when you're walking forward, it's one part of the muscle. And when you walk to the side, it's a different part of that muscle group. So doing right, left, and forward are recommended to get the whole muscle strong. So that is Tai Chi walking. And Tai Chi walking is what we do in waving hands in clouds. Another reason why you want to practice this Tai Chi walking sideways is because you get a feel for the spacing that works best for you. So if like I said earlier, when my feet are real close together, I don't feel stable. I feel like I'm kind of wobbly. I could easily fall down. If I step out way far like this, I don't feel very stable. I'm sitting here thinking, how in the world am I going to recover from this? How do I get out from this situation? And the only way I can get out of this situation is to lean and kick off. And that's not recommended. So we want to be more upright over top of our hips as we move. So when we step out, we're a little bit further than hip width apart, but not way out here. Shift, and then when we step, it's called follow step. Now we're about at hip width. So we're not stepping very far. as we walk sideways. I'm basically picking up that foot and placing it right back down beside where it was. So I'm getting somewhere very slowly. The beauty of Tai Chi is that we don't have to be in a hurry. The rest of the world is in a daggum hurry. And so that's one reason why I love Tai Chi, is because I can slow down. So Tai Chi walking to the side helps you learn what space feels most natural and most stable for you. And it's going to be different based on different things. One thing is probably the length of your legs. You know, your steps are probably going to be bigger if you have longer legs. I have really short legs. I mean, I'm really short, but I have really short legs, and so my steps are really small. Years ago, when I was in Tai Chi training, I was trying to copy my instructor. And this is what we do when we take an exercise class. We try to do exactly what our teacher's doing. And so, you know, you think they're your model, so you want to do it just like they're doing it. Well, I was wearing myself out. Why? Because she probably has 6 inches of height on me. So I was trying to copy the exact spacing of her legs when she did things, and it was too big of a step for my little legs. So keep that in mind, that you're not trying to exactly copy anyone. You're trying to find what feels most stable for you. Typically, you err on the side of smaller. I notice whenever I do the actual Tai Chi move, my feet stay a lot closer together. I'm not typically out this far whenever I do waving hands in clouds. Sometimes I pick my foot up and put it almost down exactly where it was, because that feels most stable. Remember to keep that soft bend in your knee. We're not locking those knee joints as we move. And so you see the top part of my body is not moving. It stays upright as I shift, step, shift. So there's a tendency to want to lean with a weight shift, but practice keeping your body upright. And these are just basic movement principles that, yes, that we learn in Tai Chi, but that you go and you do those things out in the world and you make yourself more stable as you move in the world. All right, with all that said, waving hands in clouds. So you totally get the stepping part, you know, that we're walking sideways. Now in Tai Chi, waving hands in clouds, we step 6 times. So we step 1, shift 2, shift 3, shift 4, shift 5, shift 6. Okay, 6 times. So when you're practicing, walk 100 times if you want to, as long as you have the space. But when we do our actual movement, it is 6 steps. 1, just like I showed you, 2. So it's a step and a follow step, a step and a follow step, a step and a follow step. That's 6. That's how many times we Tai Chi walk to the side. The hand movements of waving hands in clouds looks like this. We have one hand by our hip. We have one hand cross body. This movement is going to be a lot like the one where we hold our ball and take our ball side to side. Notice my body, the torso of my body is moving side to side. So my legs aren't moving, my hips aren't moving, my feet aren't moving. My neck or my head is moving because it's attached to my body, but I'm not turning my head. My My face is facing forward as far as my body, and it's going side to side with my body. So I'm not turning my head, I'm turning my torso side to side. And so I have that hand up, just like with our ball. The hand up tells me what direction I go. So I move to that side. Then I bring that hand down to my hip and this hand up. And then I turn to the other side. Bring my hand down, bring this hand up. Turn, switch, turn, switch, turn. So you notice it's just my body that moves. I always think it looks like the robot. Robot, I am here to clean your house. My name is Rosie. You know, from the Jetsons. Y'all follow me on that? All right, so that's what waving hands and clouds upper body look like. So that's our introduction to waving hands and clouds. We're going to do it next week. I just wanted us to kind of regroup on what we've already went over and start in a place where we can build. But it's hard to build when we have 2 weeks off, right? So we got to kind of regroup and find our place again. So let's cool down, beating ourselves on our thighs, giving ourselves a little massage. Now I want us to gather, tighten up, tense up, and then let it go. Tension is pain, and we don't want it. Tense and relax. Tense and relax. One more. Tense and relax. And inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Up and down. One more. Then to end class, we take our right fist, loose fist always. We never squeeze our fist. Our left hand, our fingers are all together. So our fist represents our strength. Our fingers together represents our friendship. Our thumb in represents humility. So we put those together, and in mutual respect, we say namaste. So thank y'all for joining me today as we regroup. Thank you for being patient with me as I had to cancel. I hope I'm done with COVID for another 2 years. I had it 2 years ago. Now I've had it again, and maybe I'll not have it for another 2. Fingers crossed, right? And I hope that y'all don't get it either. Hold on, you're on mute, Miss Lily. Do you see something on your screen that says to unmute? There you are.
Yeah, I got that. I'm thank you, Lord. I made it through this. I got some pulled muscle or something.
Oh, girl. Well, you take it easy. Ice it when it gets painful. Ice usually will help with that, but take it off and put it back on later.
It hurting when I stand up to walk. And that right side, on that left side, I don't know what it is.
And then my answer to everything is drink more water.
Then that flu shot got me.
Yeah, I know it. I tell you, we try to do best to take care of ourselves. But y'all take care, and I'll see you next Tuesday, okay?
Right, thank you.
All right, love y'all.
Love you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.